Alright, so today I'm back with yet another leak video, and today we will go over the leaks for chapter 311, which is totally insane, as we see BURATSUTA coming in and telling the blue lockers about the BURATSUTA 3, and we also see some of the candidates, where we spot none other than the jewel of Japanese football, Kira Ryosuke, but you will just have to sit back and watch to find out what happens. Anyway, please leave a like and a comment, as well as join the Discord server, and with that out of the way, let's get into it. So to begin chapter 311, also called Side B, we get to 1 day left before the U20 World Cup, and the text says, "We are making the final preparations for the first match. We are working hard to win. Sharpen your ego." We then get right into it as we see Yukimiya and Nanase defending against Raichi. Raichi tells his team to go and counter, while Yukimiya tells Nanase to make it 2-on-1. We then see Igo, who is watching this go down intensely. After that, we get to Hiyori, who is making a cross to none other than the GOAT Isagi, who scores a goal while having Nico chasing after him. Anyway, they get the goal, and Chigiri compliments him. Isagi then breathes out and tells Hiyori that he was one tempo too slow, and that right now his cross was just a bit too early, telling him that at the world level, his cross would have been blocked. Hiyori just says okay. However, he says that he understands what Isagi is getting at, but tells him that doing everything all of a sudden is impossible. Karasu then comes by and tells Isagi that he is asking too much, and says that he's still stiff before the match. It then gets dark around Isagi as he says, "Huh," and he asks them if their goal isn't to win, asking them what's wrong with having an ideal to strive for, and telling them not to go calling people stiff or saying dumb stuff like that, and calls him an idiot. Hiyori just tries to laugh it off while saying that maybe that's what makes him right though. Karasu then tells him that he isn't trying to be harsh, but that he is just sharing his opinion normally. Isagi then asks Karasu if he can't say it in a bit more decent way, and Karasu tells him not to act like they are playing half-assed then. This makes Isagi even more upset. However, before anything can go down, Aiku comes in their way and tells them to stop fighting. Hiyori is on the back line and says that they were really about to fight. Aiku then looks at them both and tells them to keep their passion hot but their communication cool, and asks if they have got it. Both of them then just apologize to each other. We then see Rin by the side being emo as he tells Isagi not to get cocky, asking him if he isn't starting to think that he is already the center of the team and that everything will go his way, telling Isagi to do it after he wins and calling him a pretentious demon king, which I'm not going to lie, but it always goes so insanely hard when someone calls Isagi a demon king. After that, BURATSUTA suddenly barges in and apologizes for bothering them. He tells them that they are doing great and calls them his fellow moneymakers before he corrects himself and calls them his gemstones of talent. Bachira then calls BURATSUTA the chairman, and Igo asks him what he is trying to do and tells him that he was told not to come to this site. BURATSUTA tells him that he has absolutely no intention of interfering with the soccer stuff and says that it's just a greeting. He then looks to the blue lockers and says that he just thought that it would be better to let them know about the deal they made. Knowing about it would boost their motivation, right? BURATSUTA then looks towards them with a huge grin as he says that the maximum number of players in the U20 World Cup is not 23, but instead 26, which shocks everyone. However, BURATSUTA explains that the remaining 3 slots are his before telling them that one of these spots belongs to the GOAT and the legend Itoshi Sai. Gagamaru is just in pure shock, and Nanase says that this is a lot of information. Rin then looks pissed as he thinks that Itoshi Sai will play in the U20 World Cup. BURATSUTA then says that due to his own wishes, Sei will only play in the knockouts. However, he then tells them that the remaining 2 slots are already chosen. He then shows them his iPad and tells them that he has fixed his own program where the final 2 spots will be chosen by a survival selection, telling them that in this Side B, they will gather 300 players for a new Blue Lock, and that they will record and broadcast this heated battle on Blue Lock television, edit it, and then fire it up. Hey, it's Natsu mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? Otoya asks him if this isn't just a ripoff. Kiora adds in by saying that it's just full of idiots just like the original Blue Lock. However, Bachira just stands excitedly by the side and says that it's expected from Blue Lock. BURATSUTA then shows them a big screen of players and says that he picked them himself and tells them that they will be the members scheduled to participate. And I'm not even kidding you, but among these players we see the GOAT Kira, who Isagi right off the bat also spots as he thinks back to his first encounter with Kira, but also the time when he kicked him in the tag game. BURATSUTA then tells them that the 2 representatives of Blue Lock are thinking of turning the finals into a huge media event to broadcast worldwide, telling them that, in other words, they're planning to stream the finals as a massive news story along with the combined tournament. His eyes then begin to glow like never before as he tells them that even if they die, then they have to make it to the finals and tells them all to go for it. Everyone looks stunned after his speech, but he just begins to walk away while telling them all good luck and to make big money. Ego is quiet after that. However, Isagi speaks up, and he asks Ego if he is planning on doing this, and asks what will happen to Blue Lock. But Ego tells them not to worry about such foolish emotions, and tells them that the chairman only cares about gambling, and that Ego is using BURATSUTA so that he can make them stronger. Isagi then asks Ego about the rule that if anyone lost in Blue Lock, they could never become a part of Japan's national team, and starts talking about Kira. However, Ego cuts him off right away and says that he won't use Kira, which makes me so mad. But hey, we have to hear him out. Ego tells them that whether to use them or not, that decision doesn't belong to BURATSUTA, but to him, telling them that either way, if some unexpected troublemaker shows up, they won't get to choose whether they stay. Isagi then asks if that means that even BURATSUTA's selection is part of the Blue Lock system. Ego says that it's outside the plan, and that if they can't win this U20 World Cup, then none of it really matters. We then see Ego with BURATSUTA's aura around him, as he says that if they don't win it, then he will be expelled from the Blue Lock project, and that his position is not really different from theirs, which is why he won't change his philosophy. Ego explains that to create the world's best striker, he is ready to risk everything, and to make Japan win the World Cup too, looking super cold as he tells them all that until this Ego comes to life, Blue Lock won't be handed over to anyone. And that whole sentence just has so insanely much aura, like it's crazy, and Ego is really cooking right now. Anyway, he then tells them that he will now announce the regulars for the first match against Nigeria. Anyway, the chapter then ends with Nagi going to Blue Lock, and it says that there are only 2 hours left before the opening of the U20 World Cup. The ending text then says, "Just a little longer until it begins. What will this mysterious silence lead to?" Also great news, but no break next week, which is just fantastic. And the next chapter will be called Toward the U20 World Cup, which gets me so hyped. Alright, so now we have lots to go over, so let's get right into it. Firstly, I want to cover Isagi quickly. Now, I obviously know that he wasn't trying to be mean towards Hiyori in the match, and I don't even think that he was. He just gave him some guidance. However, with that said, I can see something happening in the real games. Isagi said that Hiyori's pass would be blocked on the world stage, and I can imagine something like that actually happening. Someone having a bit of a slip-up, and Isagi getting mad over it. Or even worse, the enemy team scores because of that slip-up, which makes Isagi really crash out. I would be interested in seeing that side of Isagi a lot more. However, I'm just interested in seeing how they will work with it, as it's for real right now, as the U20 World Cup is just 2 hours away. Basically, so it's here more or less. Anyway, now let's talk about Kira. Now this is really interesting, but not because of the reason which you might think. Because when Isagi asked Ego about Kira, and if he would play, Ego told him that he wouldn't use him. And now this would be the same for Nagi, as there isn't any difference between him and Kira. Both of them got eliminated. And as Ego has said, anyone who does lose in the Blue Lock project isn't allowed to play in the Japan national team. So if Ego still has that rule for Kira, then it would be the same for Nagi, which gets me a bit confused because Nagi obviously has to play, or else there's no reason at all for bringing him back, like it would be totally pointless. But then, what is Ego going to do? Just ignore the rule when it comes to Nagi, but enforce it when it comes to Kira? Now I know Ego, and that doesn't sound like something that he would do. Either he would let that rule pass for both or none. And as he said in this chapter, that he wouldn't use Kira, as he has already gotten eliminated, I'm super confused. Because like what's the point of both Nagi and Kira if they aren't going to get used? Now yes, there's not a 100% chance that they are the ones who will get picked to be in the BURATSUTA 3. However, I would say that it's pretty likely that it's going to be the two of them. Now this has actually gotten me really confused, so I would love if you wanted to share your thoughts about all of this down in the comments, and what Ego will do with the BURATSUTA 3 players. I still think that he will allow Sei to play, as he hasn't lost in Blue Lock, so it wouldn't really be wrong to use him. However, that's my thought, but please give me yours down below. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.